We're going live. Hello, everybody. We are live with the Doom Ninja podcast. So we're getting things going now. I'm going to send out just a tweet or two. And then we will get starting on episode 8.
Almost.
We're getting there. Big milestone.
Little secret to the people who watch the live stream. 10 is done. It's already in the can.
Well, we're letting them in on the movie magic or podcast magic of...
If anybody gets here within the first minute, they get to hear that.
Yes. Well, it'll be on a YouTube video
Yeah.
when we put this on YouTube. So, hopefully you guys enjoy what you see today. We have 3 games, a news story, some other stuff to talk about today. I hope you all enjoy it. And as soon as I do something, I will start talking like I know what I'm doing. But I don't know what I'm doing. We're live recording our podcast. All right. So, Ryan, how's things going?
It's going.
It's going. Are you ready to do the most fun that I have all week?
Yeah. Cube's pretty fun.
What's that?
And
as soon as I
do
The cube's
something-
pretty fun. Oh, talking about Magic?
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyone out there, me and Ryan play Magic with some friends, and we have our buddy has a cube that's full of super powerful cards, and we do some crazy drafting, and it's been our Thursday nights for a while, a couple weeks now. It's definitely enjoyable. All right, so we're going to start off.
Did I close that window? I did. These are the Homicide. Here we go.
So something we want to talk about as soon as we start recording.
Mm-hmm.
You ready to start recording? So, Ryan, there was a game developer called Digital Homicide. It's 2 brothers, the Romaine or Romine brothers, or Romini. I'm not quite.
Brothers?
What's that?
The Lettuce Brothers? Romaine?
It's not Romaine. It's Romine. It's close. So they just sued 100 Steam users.
Users.
Not
They
Steam.
sued users.
Yes, they didn't have the gumption to go after Steam, of course. For basically defamation and saying you're lying about us. What this company allegedly does is throws up a bunch of games really cheap,
Yeah.
like in the $1 to $2 world.
So I believe once you get like greenlit, you're good to go. You can just keep releasing,
Chugging out
something
games.
like that. As far as I know, don't quote me on that.
Yes, so they're massive volumes of games. Hope to get quick sales from leftover change in users' wallets. It's a direct quote from this Yahoo article that we are basing this off of. And then they're accused of basically reskinning some games and re-releasing them, trying again to get that $1.50 or whatever out, and hoping for a numbers game where you just buy, if 100 people buy $1 game, it's $100, rinse, repeat. So the best part of this is the actual court case is entitled Romini, whatever it is, versus Unknown Party. That's because they have to subpoena Valve, aka Steam, for the actual users' information for the 100 users in this lawsuit.
And this is ridiculous to begin with.
Oh, I agree.
You're gonna sue the internet for being dicks. Like, are you kidding me?
Well, is it being a dick as much as it's kind of a shady business practice?
Well, taking their shady business practice aside, just saying that, okay, let's say they released one game, legitimately they spent a lot of time on it, and people just didn't like it, and they were saying bad things about it. That's life. just need to suck that up and deal with it. If you release a better product, people are not gonna be as crappy about it. Generally, I mean, if you release something good, people are gonna say good things about it, vice versa.
Yeah. So it should be pointed out this is their actually second lawsuit. So they sued a YouTuber that I'm familiar with, Jim Sterling, for $10 million in damages. So yeah, they argued that the negative review of their game caused his fans to then go barrage them with negative comments, which hurts their business.
Yeah, I'm sure they probably would have sold close to. I mean, 100 million is probably the low end that they would have sold.
Yeah.
Billions, at least a few billion.
So this seems really frivolous. So Steam, which I've always been a fan, trying to zoom in for those on the live stream, you can kind of see the picture of one of the games. Steam is always, I thought, been very pro customer. They've often sided kind of on the customer side versus the developer side. So they just shut down Digital Homicide's ability to put games up on Steam.
Didn't they take their games down as well?
Yeah, completely removed their footprint from Steam altogether. So apparently it's a chunk of games.
Like a lot of games, yeah. And I imagine the scenario. Dude gets a knock on his door.
Okay, well, let's play this out. Knock, knock.
He
Open.
opens the door. It's the Valve guy with the valve in his eyeball.
Okay, I'm with you.
And he gives him a little piece of paper. The guy opens
Grab the paper,
envelope.
open it up.
Envelope.
Oh, it's an envelope.
Sealed. So he rips it open after trying a couple different times to get his paper cut, of course. Now there's blood on the envelope. He opens it, says, "Eat a dick." Done.
That was Steam's that was Steam's official response. Yeah, that seems. Oh man, like. So that brings the bigger question. Actually, coincidentally, I touched a little bit about this when I was talking in my segment last about Xbox games and reviewing how there's some legal things. Is can you be liable for negative comments on a online platform? Because it's an opinion based. It's not like slander or libel where you're making up something that's factually inaccurate. I'm saying I don't like this game.
Yeah, there's no way to like truly filter out what's correctly good and what's correctly bad. Like you can't tell what somebody's intentions are just by reading a message. They could be the opposite way where somebody's just giving a bunch of fake posts by just like rando Chinese people that are doing credit card schemes and like trading the games back. Like there's both sides of it, and there's not really a way to know for sure. Like you're gonna get the Valve guy to go to everybody's house.
Yeah. So it brings up an interesting I wonder what the legal precedent is, because you should be able to talk about things as long as you're not saying, this is a hypothetical Digital Homicide if you're listening. You wouldn't say like X companies are pieces of crap. They rape children. That would be different than these guys make crappy video games and here's their examples of crappy video games.
Yeah, I didn't like it because it crashed all the time, or I didn't like it because it's a reskin of a game that I bought from them before. That's a legitimate complaint.
Yeah, so, I agree.
I didn't see the messages that they saw, but now if it were like something completely slanderous like that, saying that they're like rapists or whatever, then I believe that's clearly like not something that even needs to be posted, and in that case, Steam should filter in some way. Now there are so many games that would be really hard to.
I wonder what the count of Steam is. Like how many games are on the complete? It's.
I don't know. It's nuts.
5 figures.
But if you think about that and how many people own multiple games, there's definitely more people than games. So,
yeah.
I mean, you can look at like a big selling game and see that it has 43,000 ratings.
Yeah.
Like No Man's Sky did, like some 40-something thousand. You can imagine that maybe a quarter of those people left a comment. That's a lot of people just from one game.
Sure, and that's in the big name titles. That's if they bought it through that avenue. Like there's other sites and other ways of getting the game. So we'll probably do a follow up on this later once we find out what happens with this.
Or see if any other people run into the same problem. It seems like they kind of stemmed the problem themselves. They were just being whiny little bitches, and couldn't take the heat.
Yeah. So we'll see how this goes, and I'm gonna keep an eye on this one just because it's from a pure interest standpoint. It seems interesting story and what could happen. Let us know what you think. You can always hit us up at the Doom Ninja Cast Twitter. There's no pod in that because of one freaking letter. I know we're gonna say it again.
Every time, one freaking letter.
Yeah. Or you can hit us up there if you're watching the podcast online.
Pointing.
I'm pointing. I don't know why I'm pointing. Because if you're listening to the podcast, my pointing is completely irrelevant.
What I'm seeing, because I'm not seeing you, is you pointing at your crotch.
That's true, because you don't see the screen.
Right here.
If you talk into the mic.
If you go here, you'll find it.
Way to make it creepy. So let us know about the game. Export audio 8 dash Steam.
Export wave. Homicide. Ryan. 7, 8. Alright. Everybody watching, we're just saying that segment. Because we do it segmented. It just helps for the quality. In case we have any clips, it's going to be in a smaller portion.
And also, if we have any extras, we can save them for a rainy day, or like episode 10 that's already done. We took basically 1 or 2 extra ones and went from there.
Yeah, and we don't have to worry about as many of the uhs and like thinking and stuff, because we have more time to actually collect our thoughts in between and think about it.
Faux show. So we're going to talk next about ink.
Ink, which is a game and not just a thing that's in pens.
Or code for tattoo.
It's ink, dude.
Alright. Where's my notes?
2 in the pink and 1 in the ink.
Whoa. Ready to record?
Hold on. This one. Make sure I quadruple check the save. Okay.
So Ryan, we both got the most recent Humble Bundle.
Yes, the mega deal.
The Mega Game Maker Studios Humble Bundle.
Over a $15 million value.
So Game Maker is the software of choice for development for our own Dombrowski Studios, amongst others.
Yeah.
I've dabbled in it. I'm actually in the process of taking a course in it, which is pretty neat. This Humble Bundle included all the cool stuff, modules for Android and Windows and Apple and everything.
iOS was in there.
iOS, which we're all excited about. But it also included some games made in Game Maker.
Yeah, and some source for them as well.
Yeah, and some of them they were straight up open source. Like, here, see how we made this.
Yeah.
So the one we're going to talk about is Ink.
Ink.
So Ryan, tell us about Ink.
Ink is a 2D platformer. Game Maker's a little better with 2D. Makes sense. It's by a studio called Zach Bell Games. I believe Zach Bell was the only guy that made it. I think he had maybe music from somebody else, but pretty sure he did his own. It's a game that's normally $5 on Steam, and it's one of those super hard platformer type of games. But it's kind of got its own little twist, where in this level you're a square, you're a white square, and you can't see the level when you start. There's nothing there.
It's completely black.
Yep, blankness. Every time you jump, you spray ink in all directions, and it's brightly colored, and it's randomly colored. So it'll be neon green one time when you jump, it'll be neon purple another time you jump, and so on and so on. And that's how you figure out where you're going to traverse. It's kind of a trial and error type of game, so if you die, you start over, the ink will remain, so now you can see more of the level, and you continue on.
So it's got some interesting mechanics. So you have a jump, a double jump. There's a wall grab jump.
Like a slide, kind of like Super Meat Boy has.
Yeah. And then there's some bad guys, which are colored pulsating rectangles that also leave color.
They're like multi-changing. They're cycling through like a bunch of colors.
And if you land on them Mario style, like a Goomba, they blow up.
Yep.
If they touch you, though, not in a jumping sense, you're dead, and you restart the level like a Goomba. But so what I liked about this game is at first I had zero. You said play it, so I was like, I went in with zero expectations, which was kind of a refreshing way to go into a game. But I didn't know what was going on until I started leaving those ink trails behind, and you realize that this game is not meant to be solved the first run through every level. It's meant to kind of trial and error and spray your ink everywhere, which sounds dirty.
Sounds nice.
But in the end, it's very difficult. It does remind me of like a Super Meat Boy. It's a good kind of somewhat comparison to the idea. You're unlocking the level by failing or just jumping and praying for life.
Yeah, most of the later levels of the game, because I played it through the entire game, I would just jump into the air and press the double jump button so I would spray ink. I would just try to like see as much as I could before I even started the level, because I know generally above you is going to be safe. So I just start spraying ink.
The nice thing about this, one thing, control-wise, I had an issue with my controller, so I played with keyboard. Let me tell you, is a effing nightmare. I about rage quit playing this game with a keyboard because it's very like all those other platformers, like the whole genre, which we've kind of talked about already. They require some reflexes and quick reaction time, which on a keyboard you don't get the feel
if you're not used to
if you're not used to it like you would on the controller. So I then later played with the controller and much more enjoyable experience.
Yeah. Well, if it helps you, playing on a controller, I felt like I was going to rage quit and throw the controller sometimes. I'm pretty good with the controller. There were a few levels that were very frustrating, and the style of game is not like my favorite just to begin with, but I'd heard about it and it's a Game Maker game, and generally Game Maker games I'm pretty interested in because I want to see what somebody else has done with the same engine that I work with.
Yeah.
Just interested in seeing what it can do, because a lot of the things I do end up seeing with Game Maker, since it is easily accessible by a lot of people, it looks bad and it plays bad from a lot of things I've seen. So when you see something that actually looks very polished, it looks like it could have been done in something else, something that isn't free necessarily. So that's why I wanted to play it, and I felt like I had to get through it because I don't know. I got like 40 levels in. I was like, I can't stop.
Yeah, it's point of principle now.
And there were, I don't know, like 100 levels maybe, if that. And the levels are pretty quick, generally pretty quick, except for the few where I had to just keep doing the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah, if you're watching the video right now, Ryan is this is actually Ryan's gameplay video. This is probably the 10th or 15th time he's died on this specific level he's recorded.
There's one boss in that video. It's towards the end, so you probably won't get to it. It's this triangle boss, and I couldn't figure out how to fight it. Like, it would slide itself into a wall that had spikes, and it looked like it was damaging itself, but it wasn't. And it turns out you have to jump on that one.
Oh.
It looks like a spike, so I was like, you're not supposed to jump on this because he's pointy. It should have made him a different shape.
Yeah.
But the most frustrating enemy, though, or the thing in the game, because there are some like sliding blocks that you don't realize until you hit it that they slide and they kind of throw you off. That's a little annoying like the first time, but not as bad after you've done it. The enemies that shoot the little they shoot like homing diamonds or something that are spinning. That's the most annoying because they go.
So I never got to those.
They go pretty quick, and their homing is somewhat loose, but it's tight enough to just screw you over. And the placement of them has been precisely placed so it will be. And there was one level that there were a bunch of these homing things, and they were set on timers. And then there were blocks that were moving left to right. And remember, you can't see anything when you start the level, so you don't see these tons of blocks going up left and right. There's no platforms on the left or the right to climb up. There's no walls. It's just these things that are moving. And you have to dodge these guys that are shooting homing things left to right.
While on the moving platforms.
And that's all there is to go up, is platforms that are all moving. So it's like one square, like 4 squares, makes about 4 times the size of your character, and that's one moving platform. And then the other one is the same size, and there's 15 of them that lead up to the top. It's ridiculous.
And you beat that level?
After about 100 tries. And it was just luck. It was
just dumb luck.
Yep. They just happened to not hit me with the homing. Another thing to note, you can't defeat the enemies that shoot the little homing things, but you can defeat the square guys that we were talking about earlier, the Technicolor guys. Mm-hmm. And in order to get to the end of the level, you have to defeat all the square guys.
Yes, the object is to get to a rainbow-colored rectangle that's stationary. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's not colored in, though. It's just an outline, and that means you have to go kill all the the bad guys before it'll let you advance. I love the game. Like I said, it's I wouldn't say it has longevity, except for the what's the word, the getting through it the one time. But I would say for the most simplistic sounding game, and especially if you look at it, it's actually really deep as far as gameplay goes. The color spread, which at first I'm like, okay, this is cute, is their strategy to kind of outlining the maps, and you never know where you're going to find something. A lot of times you're like, oh, here's a big giant empty space. There's got to be something here, and you leap with that blind faith, and you die. So I think it's a really challenging game.
Yeah, another thing to note, the sound. The soundtrack is like this really chilled out, like ambient techno-ish type of music, and it was like really fitting.
Yeah,
I felt like it was very fitting for the game, and maybe it was the colors that made it fitting, because it's a puzzler, but there are some parts that are really frantic, like with the homing things and shots and whatnot, and it still felt good.
Did you ever play Geometry Wars 2?
I played a Geometry Wars at some point.
There was one, Geometry Wars 2. It reminded me of the soundtrack for that. It was very like, it seemingly fit by being simplistic, but it fit the level. You said it perfectly. I don't know why I'm talking over it. You can buy this on Steam.
Yep.
It's for $5. It's also available on the Apple Play Store. It's available on the Android Marketplace. It's got a very positive review. It came out last year.
It was on Android?
Yeah.
How? I want to know how people play that on mobile.
Oh yeah, how do you do the double jump and the wall grab?
Do
Wall grab.
Does the square follow your finger?
I guess. That's a good question.
Yeah, I'm curious about that, because this game is difficult.
Yes.
You gotta make like really specific tight jumps and things.
So, I highly recommend checking it out. We'll throw up, there's some gameplay videos if you watch the recording later on in YouTube. Gameplay. And
it's colorful, but
oh, by the way, also you can download for $2 the soundtrack of the game.
Oh, that's pretty sweet. If
you thought it was cool. When you said something, when I saw it in the show notes, I meant to tell you that. And they're adding leaderboards, or they've added leaderboards.
I didn't know that.
So now you've got.
That would be a replay reason. And the other thing I was thinking about, like this game, to watch a speed run, I bet would be awesome, because people know where the platforms are before they land on them. So you imagine watching, like, let's say it's the first time you've seen this game, and somebody's just jumping into like the abyss and bouncing off of things that you don't know exist.
It would be minimal color spray too, if you think about it.
It would just be like 4 or 5 dots on the screen, and he's at the end. That would be super cool.
You just beat a boss, and it's giving me a seizure. It swirls around. All right, so again, check out that game. Let us know what you think. If you like it, tell us. If you don't like it, tell us why. Let me get a drink real quick. So you have to entertain the millions and millions of people watching around the world on Facebook Live.
For whatever reason. People were like, this guy's boring. He's drinking water.
He's drinking water, he's sitting there.
Boring.
Another camera with a green screen.
Yeah, that camera's better. Alright. Is this video still going? Everything still sound good? I don't know. Look. Oh, I wish I could have seen Sandra's comments as they were coming up. I was saying, I wish I could have seen Sandra's comments as they were being put in. Because it's like, stop trying to turn me on. So much dirty talk. I don't know what I said.
I want to say it again later.
Yeah, what I say?
Well, I usually have it up, but right now, my fantasy football team is losing their mind in chat, so my screen is just like. So, all right, so let's talk about Roguelight next.
Roguelight. Let's do the intro for it. Might as well.
Oh yeah.
Might as well. We got a new intro we're trying out. A new segment.
So you're doing all this start, right?
Yeah. So you say, "Every try the endeavor, we'll pick a free every try and spot and give it a whirl." And then you say, "It's me," or whatever, or this time around we're talking about roguelike, and then we'll just go on as normal.
Yeah, you lead the way on this one now.
Just do give it a whirl.
Let me know you're ready to record.
Recording. It's time for the itch.io Indie Endeavor, where we pick a free game from itch.io to spotlight and give it a whirl.
I like it. That's a good new intro.
And we can keep going from here. I'll just cut the other part out. And
Okay. So this week we dug through some games on itch.io, which it's a great website if people aren't aware of it. It's a kind of like an online Steam for indie games.
Yep, really small stuff. A lot of stuff you just never heard of.
And a lot of it's free. They have some pay, they have some free. So if you want to support some of the indie people, there's an opportunity to buy their game there and give them some money. Also, a lot of places put it up for free. It's also a great place where you said is it Ludum Dare?
Yep, Ludum Dare. It's a hub for a lot of developers to put the games up.
So we kind of come through and we came up with the game Roguelight. So it's very particular how this game is spelled. It's rogue and it's not L-I-T-E, it's L-I-G-H-T.
As you'd expect, because people, when they start talking about roguelikes, then there's multiple different genres for the specificity. Roguelike, roguelike, roguelike-like, roguelite. There's like all these different like minor terminologies, but this one's roguelite, like a light bulb.
And it's a side-scroller that light is literally the theme of the game.
Well, this one, not just side-scroller, because you're going down.
That's true. What is the term for that?
I don't know. It's just like a platformer, essentially.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. And there's a tagline. What was the tagline? Hold on. I love the tagline. The deeper you travel, the darker it gets, and you only have your arrows to light the way.
Yeah. Which I didn't know right away when I started playing it. Like when you first get into it, the game turns on and it shows you the screen. It says Roguelight, made by Daniel Linson,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just kind of standing there, like, okay, now what? And then you pick a direction, and it just starts moving.
Yeah.
Like you're in the game already.
I was the idiot who sat at the title screen, pressing start, going, my controller's broken. But it's neat. So you have some light sources throughout the level. There's some floating kind of torches that have a radius. And then you have an arrow that when you pull back the arrow, it does a radius around you of light.
Mm-hmm. And it shrinks over time.
Yeah, that's annoying. And you don't have an unlimited supply of arrows. It is a very limited supply of arrows.
You start with 4.
Yeah. Can you expand that?
You can. After every run, you're taken to like a item purchase screen. So you buy abilities and upgrades, and you can get more arrows, farther arrow fire distance, more health, less damage taken from enemies and traps, things like that. So that's where the replay value comes in for this game.
Try different builds, if you will.
Well, you just try to add as much, stuff to make your character powerful as you can. Because I'm pretty sure that if you just went down, I don't even know if there's an end to this game. I don't know if it just infinitely goes down.
Yeah, because it says level 1, and as you keep dropping down every once in a while, it'll say level 2, 3, 4.
I don't even know.
I think I got to 4.
I got to either be at 4 or 5 myself. So the idea is just to make yourself be able to get as far as you can. Now, if there is a bottom, I am actually really interested in knowing what's at the bottom. Because I didn't encounter any type of bosses or anything. Just some standard enemies.
Yeah, they kind of move around side to side. There's some bats that you can shoot for the coins. Mm-hmm. Some of it is blind jumping. Like, there's a couple times I was out of arrows, and you can kind of make out a light outline occasionally that it's kind of like, I don't know, tries not to put you in total darkness. I'm assuming once you get to the lower levels, it is all about managing your resources.
There's less torches. And there is one way to, like, temporarily light, or not temporarily, but light just a small area. There are empty lanterns that are hanging down off the chains, and if you hit one with an arrow, which they don't always make them easy to hit, you kind of got to hit them mid-jump, then it will light it up permanently in one little circle. But this radius, like
they're not very big, yeah.
None of the radii radiuses are very big at all. And I'm gonna guess that probably when you get your arrows leveled all the way up, maybe they're pretty decent. But even where I am now, it's
Yeah.
it's a little spooky.
But I thought it was a neat idea, playing with the dark. The response to the controller was pretty neat. I was impressed. I've played a couple other Game Maker games or other indie games, and kind of the fluidity of the controls is always sketchy sometimes. I thought this worked pretty well.
Oh yeah. The control. I never felt like the controls are what like screwed me over.
Yeah.
It was more not having arrows.
Yeah.
That usually screwed me over.
Which we did have two different experiences, because you watched me play mine, and for whatever reason it was super slow.
Going mega slow. I don't know why. It's like half speed.
Like, I don't know.
But I mean, as you can see, for the people that are watching on Facebook, it worked fine for me.
So, scale of 1 out of 10.
Now, for a free game,
Yes.
with the replay,
Preface it with however you want.
I would say, just due to the replay value and the variance that's available in it, and like the amount of progression, I would say it's like a 9 for free games, as far as free games are concerned.
Yeah.
Because I think it's really, really good for a free game. If I were to find this game for sale somewhere, I would say like $2 or $3, because it's not insanely deep. I mean, I guess technically the levels are deep because you just go down.
Just go down.
But,
Yeah.
but,
No pun intended.
It's basically just a jumping and shooting arrows. That's all you're really doing. But the leveling thing at the end, where you get to upgrade your stats, is pretty cool, and it does feel nice to be able to finally get some upgrades after you've done a really long run. So I'd say, even if it were a couple $1 game, it would definitely be worth it. On just an overall game scale, like comparing it to any other game that I would ever play, I would say it's like a 7.5.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. I was surprised at how good it was.
I would probably go with that too. By the way, one of the people watching the stream said it was an omni-scroller. I like that term a lot, actually.
That sounds like a robot.
But I will probably load this back up at some point and see how much.
To play it at a normal speed.
Yeah, I need to figure that part out.
Yeah.
But probably load it back up just to see how many levels down it goes.
Yeah, I've played it since this recording. I played it 3 different times because I am still interested in it.
Yeah.
Oh, and that just reminded me of another game that I think next week we should talk about.
All right, well, we'll bring that up next time. But so check it out. It's itch.io, so itch.io. They have an installer that's kind of like Steam, that you can get like a desktop installer, which makes it a little easier to manage the games. And this one's called Roguelight, so Roguelight, one word. And who's the creator of that one?
Daniel Linson.
So
he was the guy that won the previous Ludum Dare, not the one that just happened, but the one before it.
Oh, nice.
He won the contest.
So check out his game, give him some love. Again, we always love supporting indie devs. So check it out. Let us know what you think about the game, and we'll go from there. Boom, another clip down.
Yeah, the game I'm thinking is not on itch.io though. It was I found it like on some rando forum thing. It's called Warning Forever. It's badass. It's so strange, like the way that it is. I'll have to put that in the notes. I'm gonna type it underneath where it says Roguelight.
8-Roguelight.
Warning Forever. I played the shit out of Warning Forever. I'm actually curious if this person that made Warning Forever has made anything else. It uses like old Commodore 64 looking graphics.
Oh, that's cool.
But it's so everybody on the thing. What are you? Thanks for. Oh, I thought you made it sound like you were turning it off.
No, I was just telling people thanks for watching. So, also, whenever you hear us start a segment, you'll see me clap and wonder what the hell I'm doing. It's just a kind of start from here point. If not, it just helps sync all the audio up with everybody. So I know someone asked me that the other day.
Yeah, because we're recording on 2 different microphones. And maybe one day we'll have a sweet little studio space where you can't hear all the reverbiness between them.
That
if we
would
didn't
be.
have that, it would be so clean. It would be so clean. But we're working with what we got.
It will get better. Oh, we got a new overlay. So
Yeah.
anyone's watching our previous videos has seen we had a sort of a piecemeal thing we made on the fly. This one's going to be... I like this layout, so you'll see this one a little more. We'll go from there. And next we're going to talk about Crawl, which you'll be kind of leading the way on this one because I have not played this one.
Crawl is so awesome. Dude, you need to come over sometime and play Crawl.
All right.
Me and Kayla. Serious. It's most fun with 3 or 4 people.
All right. So, ready to record? So, Ryan, you've been exploring some Steam games, and you had one you've been telling me about recently, and you sent me some gameplay footage, which looks really cool.
You did it again.
What?
Gameplay.
I said game. I did not say. Just stop.
I didn't think I sent that footage.
So you said gameplay footage for a game called Crawl. So why don't you tell us about it?
So I did send some footplay gameage about Crawl. Crawl. Well, this game I've actually had for quite a while, and it's one that I picked up just because it was a local multiplayer. I love multiplayer games, especially local ones. It just brings me back to my childhood. Most of the games that I used to pick up when I was younger, or at least get purchased for me because I was a child, were something that had local co-op. It's my favorite way to play. It's a game that is currently still in early access on Steam. It's made by a company called Powerhoof. I think it's about $10 to pick it up right now. It's definitely a game that is best played with friends. You can play it versus just AI. The setup of the game is there are 4 players. 1 player is the hero. 3 players control monsters and traps and different items in the game. So,
Okay, I think you were telling me about this game.
Originally, now.
Can I pause you 1 second?
Sure.
So watching the gameplay video, the initials of the people are Dick, Pud, and what's the last one? Nib?
Nib.
All right, continue. I just wanted to clarify that.
Just to let you know, I am Dick.
Wait, who's Pud? Because that really makes a difference.
Pud is Kale, and Nib is his brother Kirk.
Okay.
Hopefully he doesn't mind being bothered. When we played this a week or so ago, it was so fun. It used to just throw you into this dungeon. It's a procedurally generated type of thing, just like the Roguelight game we were talking about. It's procedural. And so you're never going to experience the exact same thing every time. The floors are not going to be laid out the exact same way.
Yep.
The way it used to start is you're just one person is the hero, 3 people are ghosts, and you just start exploring. The way it is now is it has like a narrator say that like they're locked in the caverns and they're going mad or something. They do it a lot better than me.
Yeah,
but they make it like super serious, and then it goes fight, and you're 4 heroes, and they're all just killing each other, and one hit kills them. So everybody kills everybody else. There's 1 person left, and the narrator continues on, and the guy's like panting. He's like, killing them was not the wisest, or something. Like it's so cool, like the way.
So the narration adds to the play.
Yeah, for sure, it adds like a bunch, and then you go into not the room's empty. You go into the first room, and the average room that you go into will have between 1 and 4 pentagrams on the ground. And in order to spawn a monster as one of the ghost players, because you float around when you're not a monster, you go on top of a pentagram, you hit a button, and you'll spawn as a random monster. Now, it's random within the set of monsters that you can have. Something I probably should have explained is before the game starts, you pick your affiliation as far as which like deity you want to be behind. So there's like these this vampire lord guy. There's like a fish guy, like a zombie looking. There's all these.
So there and you have so things are set up according to this deity you follow.
15 of these or so. There's quite a few, and they've added a lot since I first got the game. And they'll dictate the 3 monster setup that you start with, and then they'll also dictate like sometimes an item that you start with. Say you start with a bow instead of a sword. Or you'll start with a different secondary item instead of the regular roll that people usually get as your secondary, which is kind of like a recharge cooldown based item.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also, you can do what's called taunting the gods. And if you choose no god at all, it'll give you like 4 to choose from that are all like bad, all detrimental. One of them is like Glub. I think Glub, there's like a secondary Glub, which is like a fish man, and he gives you this fish that's like super slow, and its moves are like bite, it moves really slow, or it leaves like this sludge trail, and it like dashes like just a little bit and leaves a small sludge trail. It's just slow and really hard to use. And when you taunt the gods to pick glub, your minion setup is glub glub glub. All you have is glub. It can't evolve, which is a mechanic that every other thing in the game can do.
Is that just so? This is just hard mode, basically.
It's super hard. And it
Is that what
just
this little
global.
gray fish bouncing around is?
Probably. If you saw a fish, there are multiple fish evolutions. It's not just the one. There's like 3 different types of fish. That's the cool thing about the monster aspect of the game. I would say it is more fun to be a monster than it is to be a hero. But the object of the game is to get to the end of it as the hero. So the full object of the game is, once you hit level 10, on each floor there's a portal that will open up if anybody's level 10. And if you are level 10, when you're a player, a hero at that place, you can go into the portal and you fight a boss battle. And the boss battle, the 2 that they currently have, which they're working on a 3rd that looks awesome, I can't wait for it. There's 2 bosses that every player that controls a monster controls a piece of the boss. So all 3
So
players
Voltron style.
collectively are the boss.
That's kind of cool.
But it's not just like a humanoid thing where somebody controls an arm, somebody controls another arm. One of them is like this squid beast, and one person controls like a laser beam. One person controls like this bubble that slows people down, like stops them, and another controls like sludge that throws them around. So the 3 very different types of things.
So are they trying to stop you from?
Yep.
So it's 3 versus 1.
It's always, yeah,
Okay.
3 versus 1. Nobody is ever gonna.
There's no
try
co-op
to
besides
help
it's
you.
the.
The closest to co-op you could be doing is maybe letting a different player try to defeat you in order to provide other players with more levels. The way that you level up your monsters is for every level that another player has gained on their hero, you get 5 monster points.
Okay.
To put towards your monsters. And it costs like, I want to say like 5 or 10 to level up after you're past your first level, and then like 15, 25, and eventually gets to the 40, like beast tier stuff. And once you level it up to that tier of whatever tier your monster is, if that monster would spawn, it's going to be that tier every time.
Oh, nice.
But it's still within the three monster spawn pool. So you may not, if you leveled something up to max, you may not get that every time. But it still gives you stronger stuff overall. Which means, if you're a player that's not very good at being the hero, and you're better at being the monster, you still have a chance. Because it's asymmetric. So you kind of get a benefit from that. The game has lots of different items, which I'm not sure how like random the items are. I think they're like pretty set on the stats, not 100%, but you unlock a lot of them by playing. And you find items in a shop, which they just recently added a new way to get to the shop instead of having to traverse the whole thing every time. There's like a little blood sacrifice thing that pops on the ground, and if you give some like life or something like that, you'll go straight to the shop.
Gotcha.
And getting to the shop first is a big deal. Like being able to buy the items, because you don't find items on the ground really ever.
Everything's purchased.
Yeah, you have to like
Okay.
buy everything. So
It looks neat. Like I'm gonna have to come over and play it because
so
looking at the
fun.
gameplay footage, which we'll put up on the
fun.
YouTube channel later, it looks really awesome.
Yeah. The graphic style is like a super low res. Like the pixels are larger than you would normally see, but the animations are really clean, like extra clean. So it kind of makes up for the.
Yeah, there's a couple like special moves or something they used that was actually really neat, and then this one thing popped up that said "Humanity Regained," like flashed across the screen. I thought that was kind of a cool
That's
looking.
When a monster beats the player, whoever last hits as the monster will turn into the hero.
Okay.
And the hero becomes a ghost. There's like I was saying, the ghosts can turn into monsters by stepping on the pentagrams, or they can inhabit traps that are sometimes in rooms. And sometimes there's a room that is just traps. And there's another cool mechanic as the ghosts that you can lock somebody in the room. The only way you can get out of a room is if you've defeated all of the monsters that are in the room. Once you're a ghost, you're no longer a monster. But when you're a ghost, there are these little blobs that float around that just randomly spawn all over the screen. They're like ectoplasm. And if you float into it as a ghost, you'll collect it and it'll start filling meter. And once you've filled the meter like 3 times, I think you're maxed out. There are items that let you fill it more times. But for every meter that you fill, you get a little globule that'll follow you around, and you can hit a button to drop a slime. And it's like a really weak monster that you can either let go, like let the AI control, or you can inhabit it and use its ability, which is literally just like shoot. It'll stop and then go.
Oh, I see. Okay, it's on the screen right now.
Three
Actually, the
times.
green.
So you could, if all 3 monster people just saved up a bunch of these globules, you could find a really good trap room, drop 9 slimes in it, and just inhabit all the traps and just destroy the hero.
Oh, jeez.
So there are tons of occasions where somebody's like low health, they're just about to get to the doorway. As soon as they get to the doorway, somebody drops a slime at the other side of the room. Now the door's locked. You got to go back and kill that slime.
Oh, that's so dirty.
Yes. And then I mean, other times, if like let's say only 2 monsters spawned, but one person had plenty of slimes, there is an ability that lets you collect like less slimes to make them faster. So you can pick up like 2 or 3 instead of 5 or 6 to create a new slime. So one person could just be dropping slimes in a corner behind a trap, and then inhabiting the trap while the other people kind of wall them off.
So they have to go that direction. Oh,
get out.
Jeez.
It's so cool.
So up to 4 player.
Yep. 4-player, local co-op. I don't believe they plan on having any type of online multiplayer. I'm not 100% about that.
Yeah, that latency might be an issue on that.
Yeah, but yeah. I don't
know the pace of this game, if you're not watching the video, it's pretty Twitch-tastic as far as controls and having to be constantly doing stuff.
Yep. But I would say if you're into local brawl type of games, like if you like fighting games or just roguelikes in general, where you like leveling and collecting new items and things like that, Crawl is like an absolute must-have type of game. If you're into like party games, things like that.
So where can we get this?
It's on Steam. I know for sure. I don't know if any other sources have it.
I meant to look for that.
It's a team called Powerhoof that put it together. It's $10, still in early access, but they are still working on it pretty consistently. Like I said, since the last time I played it to now, they made a lot of cool changes with the narration. I see updates of their animations and their bosses and stuff. So they're still working on it. I know they had some trouble while they were working on it. they had some sort of like law issues at a point during the development, because I was following it really close. And they made there's another element of the game that sometimes pops up is when you go into a room, there will be a statue of a large monster, like a high level, and you can inhabit that statue as a ghost and become a high level monster. They made the Taxman because the Taxman was like giving them problems in real life.
Oh,
so they made
geez.
an actual Taxman, and he throws papers in the air. And your guy, like when he walks into a paper, he has to stop and like read it.
Oh, jeez.
And then you have a secondary move where he throws his arm out and it says red tape like really big on the screen, and it just wrecks everything in that thing. So you're just like throwing papers out.
That's straight like, oh, you made our life hard, we're gonna mock you instantly in the game. That's pretty awesome.
You know, another one that they did, I believe they originally did it just as like something to get people to look at it. He thought it would be funny. The animator did. He took Gabe from Valve, like the lead guy, and he made him in Crawl. And he's like all beard. He's like a big bearded guy, and he has like punch moves, and then he pulls out daggers and goes like Super Saiyan and attacks.
Nice.
And he's still in. Gabe said it was okay. He's cool. So he's like a big boss in the game.
So it's on. I just looked it up. So it's on Windows, it's on Linux, and it's on Mac OS. So you can pick it up from pretty much every desktop OS right now.
Yeah.
You can get it through Steam. You can also get it through Humble Bundle Store, is where their website says you can get it from.
It's super awesome. If I were to rate it, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
I don't have any complaints about it.
Like I'm looking at your gameplay footage, and I want to come over and play
So fun.
sometime soon. And kind of this looks great. And again, that was Crawl, which is CRAWL, because someone just asked me in a text message what this game was called. So check it out. Let us know. Hit us up on our respective Twitters, Doom Ninja Cast, R_Doombrowski, or The Ninja Fat Man.
Crawl. Slopic worm.
I kept wanting to say Kroll. Do you remember that movie from...
I've heard of it, yeah.
Oh,
Doesn't
it's...
it have like an alien fish face man on the front or something?
I think the bad guy, yeah, that's what the bad guy's natural form. It is, looking back, the movie does not hold up. Like, the special effects are super cheesy. Some of it's like, basically, like, to put a mirror in front of some water, and that's, like, to make a warped effect. But it is one of the cheesiestly most awesome movies from back in the day. If anyone, it's KRULL. This guy's got the glaive, which is like the spinning dagger, like swirly dagger thing he throws, and it is super cheese, but it's amazing.
All right, so we talked about 3 games today. Still got to do a Studio update, podcast shout out, intro, outro. The norm. So, go ahead and do the studio update.
All right, ready to record? Oh wait, I gotta put up.
What's up? The logo.
I put your logo on the screen while we're talking. So, ready to record?
Recording.
So Ryan, what's going on in the studio of Dombrowski?
This week, I finished up all of the art except for the character animations. So all the background is done. The title screen is done, which I redid. There was originally a picture of the background with the couch, and then like the two players that I currently have kind of facing off head to head, and it said Suburban Scavengers in the center. Oh, I wanted to redo the art on the faces to make it look more realistic, because the backgrounds were a little more realistic, the grass and the clouds especially. So I took my painting skills and kind of gave them a test, and it looks okay. The new one, I think. It's definitely not like top tier quality, but it's not too bad. I repainted it, and after doing the male character, which took me like 8 hours, it took a long time, longer than it should. I realized that the way that I had the faces on before was kind of cutting off at the ear, and it would not look right at all. So I couldn't put both faces in. I had to retune the title screen. So I retuned it so he's on the left-hand side, the words go on the right. I also redid the way that the words looked, which is kind of cheesy, and put in the menu items on the right-hand side. And you can watch on my Twitter, there's I think the main pinned tweet on my page, I believe, is the new transition for Suburban Scavengers. And it seamlessly transitions from the menu to playing the game, just like that Roguelight game that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And so you you select play, it'll show the characters run in from the left and right hand side, everything else slides off the screen, and then it instantly does the intro fight scene animation.
Once you tuned that up, I did see the new version of that.
Everything's all one piece. Pretty cool. Also the intro does have like a little bit of an animation, even though it's a painted face, his eyes move. So when the intro starts, there's just the couch. You just see the couch on black, and then the black fades, and you see there's a guy like staring off into the distance, and then the background comes in. It says Suburban Scavengers fades in, and then the menu items fade in, and you'll notice the guy on the left, he's eyeballing that couch. Like he'll look down, and he'll look back up. And
I was wondering what he was looking at.
It's just like it's on like a semi-random timer. So like, I don't know when he's gonna look. He's just like eyeballing. I just wanted to get that across, because I originally did the eyes going forward, but then I was also planning on having two players there, so I was like, I can figure something out. I'll work with it. So that's all done. I started working on sound as well, so I have sounds for pushing the couch, punching the player, doing the elbow drop, whooshes, footsteps, different things like that. And actually,
did you literally do it?
A lot of these I found other places. Freesound.org is a place where I get a lot of sounds. They're Creative Commons, and I'll usually take those and kind of modify them, change the pitch of them, or stretch them, or make them shorter, or loop them. That's where I get a lot of my sounds from. I also found some through a YouTube video that had another Creative Commons license through some of their sounds, but I modified them, so they're all pretty much not distinguishable as the original sound. After this cast, I'm gonna do some sounds for the character, for the male character. I gotta do some grunts and punches and stuff, so that'll be interesting.
So if someone's in another room, all they're gonna hear is
Yep, they're gonna think we have some gay play footage in here.
God. Not cool, man.
So,
not cool.
I'm really close to having the sound done. Just before I came over, I was listening to some of the sound music tracks that I had recorded in the past to see if anything fit with it, and I'm just not feeling it. So either I'm gonna record a whole new song for it, a whole new track to go behind it, or I might reach out to some other people that do sound and see if they'd be interested in doing it just for their name to be put in the credits. I don't know. I think my buddy Kale would probably like.
Yeah,
He's big into the sound design and stuff. Also, the Orlando IX information came through,
which I'm excited about.
Yep. So now I got the booth setup time is registered for the 15th. We're gonna be there early as hell, like 8 something, 7:30, 8:30. It's really early, but everybody has to set up at certain times, so not everybody's there all at once trying to get the crap in there. And we got the passes for it, which are all access.
which
I didn't realize.
as a member going with you, is awesome.
To give you an idea, the regular pass is $35 for both days. General admission for a convention, that's a good price. I thought it was $35 a day.
There's a lot going on too at this convention too.
Yeah, it's not just games; it's technology as well. And there's a lot of big things that are going to be there. Some of the booth spaces were $20,000. If they filled those spaces, it's got to be huge stuff.
Yeah.
Somebody has $20,000. It's probably going to be like Riot Games or something. But
I hope Riot's there because I want codes. I
want a skin.
I want a skin so bad. I know the likelihood is low, but my god.
Well, if there was an Orlando skin, it would probably be a Pulse skin, and it would probably be rainbowy or something, just because that was a big deal in Orlando. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of that, like, fight through it and stuff. There's no problem with that.
Orlando strong.
Yeah. So yeah, the passes, the all access passes are above like the regular VIP. I think the regular VIP are like $150, something like that. All access passes are $280.
I know, and I looked at the grid, and there's certain panels you get access to,
you
and
get access to everything.
Yeah.
All access. And I because I'm a developer, I get 4 passes for my studio. So as long as you guys go and do something to help me out, either bring people,
I'll carry the
way,
banner.
Either bring people towards my place, or when you're going to other things and trying them out, just give out business cards or flyers or something like that. I really need to peg down exactly what I want to do, or what I want to do for promotion, because I do want something that catches people's eyes. I was thinking of doing like a competitive leaderboard for like a custom decimate level or something, where people can, if they beat my time or like the standard time for it, they get a free key in the game, something. Or maybe like a prize wheel, where if you spin it, you get a chance to get something silly happen. I don't know. Not 100% on that, but I definitely need to figure something out. I am going to have Suburban Scavengers there, no matter what state it's going to be in. It's playable right now. If it breaks, I just press R and it resets the game, so I'm just going to deal with that.
Nice.
And that's pretty much it. Other than, I have a Patreon set up now. I don't know if I had that done last week, but
I don't think you did.
Yeah, the Patreon is up and running. I actually have 2 backers on there too, which is pretty cool.
That is pretty neat.
Yep.
We'll put the links in the show notes for that.
It's the current scheme I have for Patreon is that I produce a newsletter every week, which includes everything that I've done for the week. So I make at least 2 blog posts a week, sometimes 3 blog posts, just keeping up with my updates, and shows you visually what I'm working on. I try to make it kind of visually interesting. And then we post this Doom Ninja podcast in there as well. And there's multiple tiers of donation incentives. And I would love to hear other people's perspectives on it, including your own, of what you think you would want for a donation incentive. I mean, right now I have like shout-outs available, either like a shout-out on this podcast or shout-outs through the newsletters. I put as like a certain tier backer. You can have your name in the newsletters and blog posts and stuff like that. Giving away free copies of the game if you donate like $1 or something, because that's pretty much what the game costs.
Yep.
Just trying to figure out things like that. It'd be great to get that going, get some exposure. My mom was my first backer.
Hey man,
awesome.
Support is support, dude.
It's so awesome. Like, seeing that I got a backer, and then yesterday I got another one. I was like, oh man, that's so awesome. Like, people believe in me. But that's pretty much it. So, as far as the Ninja Fat Man's concerned, streaming and whatnot, what are you up to?
So my buddy, he's a Bruce, who you know, a mutual friend of ours. Play Magic with him. He's a Bruce. He's got a he streams as well, which I am horrible. It's Caster something stream. I'm going to put it in the show notes. I'm so sorry, Bruce. I forgot your Twitch. I'm a pretty horrible friend.
He's not sorry. He's sitting here like Mr. Burns with his fingers. Just
actually, you can watch the video and see the legit look of dread on my face right now.
It's After Effects. He's working really hard to make
it
like that right now.
But he plays a game called Duelist, which is kind of neat. It's a free game.
Yeah, I've watched Brian Kibler play this game.
Yeah, it reminds me of Magic if you had figs. Because it's kind of, there's a board you summon creatures and
figures.
Yeah, figs, like figurines.
Okay.
Not the fruit. Yes, you tap fruit. But they have summoning sickness or spells, there's artifacts, and it's a strategy game. Mm-hmm. And I watched Bruce play and I thought it was a really neat game. And then, fun fact, the Humble Bundle included 20 orbs, which are like map or card packs. So I opened a couple just to see, and I was like, I had 10 left. I was like, people actually like watching this stuff. So actually, I've already recorded most of it, but a orb opening video for Duelist, and there'll be a little bit of gameplay. So
Hearthstone pack, type of similar deal.
yeah, so people
I enjoy watching Hearthstone pack openings. So.
yeah. Well, also a lot of people watch it to see the rarity breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
So you can start if you watch multiple ones, you can get sample sizes of.
Yeah.
I opened 10 packs. I got 4 legendaries and 3 of the next step down.
So how rare is a legendary in Duelist? Do you have any idea?
I don't know. I got 4 out of 10, which 40% seems kind of high, but I don't know if I was just running hot. So that video should be coming. I'm hoping this week or beginning of next week. And then the next thing is I finalized kind of my thoughts on how I want to do the Xbox videos I talked about last week. So any games that aren't the obvious like super AAA games that everyone's already heard of, they always release some of the more indie games or mid-sized developer games. So I'm aiming for the 3rd and the 18th because they come out the 1st and the 15th of the month. The 3rd and the 18th of doing some gameplay videos and putting that up. I'm going to start October 3rd with that. So, yeah.
I'm going to be on vacation, but I'm still holding you to it.
Still holding
I'm
to it.
log in and be like, where's that, dude?
Yeah. So, a little that's contingent on my video editing skills, which I've started learning Premiere Pro, watching YouTube videos, reading some tutorials. It's starting to make some sense.
Once you get a few transitions down, you go, you'll be fine.
Yeah, so that's really all I got going on right now. There's other projects that are still kind of in the works. And we have some other interviews we're potentially scheduling coming up, which I'm working on, which is making me excited.
Once we get our interview setup done, I'm going to start getting in touch with some people for sure. There are some people that I think would be awesome to have on this show.
Yeah, but those are the things that we're working on now.
Export.
Got a lot of people. Thanks everyone who watched the video, by the way. This is our most watched video so far.
Oh, snap.
Which is kind of cool. Thanks for the friend support.
Yeah. And I don't know if anybody saw the event thing that was posted on the Doom Ninja Podcast page. I did post an event for the calendar, but I don't know if like that shows for everybody. If you're watching it, let us know how you heard of it to start watching, because we want to let more people know as soon as possible. You know, in case it works around their schedules, or they're just
for sure
TV or something that they don't really care about right now. Maybe they could be watching us, watching this guy, this guy.
Hey, wait, do it again. Let me see the screen. That's actually perfect.
This guy.
Yeah, for you, you're pointing to your junk again.
Export.
So intro, outro, or wait, outro we don't need to do anymore.
We shouldn't need the outro. I have Patreon now, though, but yeah, I do want to put that in somehow. I don't know. Maybe I'll just tag it in. I'll do like a quick little read of it and tag it in.
So what are we gonna tag this one?
Wait, what?
Sandra found out on Twitter. That is how she found out about our live stream.
Okay. Sweet.
So a podcast about all things AAA indie games and.
Oh yeah, what are we gonna do for this? So.
I don't want to put gay play video because that's not sensitive to inbox.
No,
though funny.
No, that's okay. We're through that joke.
What was funny that was said? Figs. Nothing.
What about something about like spraying ink or something?
Spraying your own ink.
Like spraying until you can find your way or something.
This is the part where we always have to try to figure it out.
Spray until you find your way. I have no idea.
Okay. Spray until you find your way.
And spraying.
Oh.
It's gotta be the act. Oh, what?
Spraining. Wow.
Spraying. Spray.
That's not how you spell that either.
Spraying.
If anyone see our show notes, we're failing in English right now.
Oh man. It's spraying until you find your way. And what would the No, I'll figure that out later. I try to think of the episode names too, as it's like fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's figure that out. What can we call the episode? We talked about ink crawl, roguelite, studio stuff. So what's something that's kind of similar? Roguelites. We're spoken about twice.
Crawling through the light to find your ink.
This would probably have to be shorter because I always put Doom Ninja Podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Episode, whatever, dash the name.
Sorry, Sandra says seriously with the filthy talk. The spraying ink thing. I don't know. I am completely blanking on a title.
This is part of the process, people.
Yeah, no. This has got to be really boring to watch us just sit here stare trying to think of...
When I'm working in game development, it's like this. Like, if somebody's watching me stream, there'd be times where I'm just like... like, literally staring, trying to think.
Yeah, I just realized we were, like, on camera and people were just watching us go, duh.
Part of the process. Oh, man, I'm curious to see what other people would think that the name of it should be. Roguelite. Oh, we also talked about the developer having a problem. Do we want to bring that up?
Oh, yeah. The Humanity, what was it called?
Or we could say what if we named it after, like, the Valve guy?
Oh, wait, romaine lettuce. Did we say romaine because it was romine?
Yeah, lettuce.
What was that damn?
Oh, like Valve guy Smackdown or something. Or, yeah, it was lettuce.
Because it was Digital Humanity was the name, or Digital Homicide.
What if we said like lettuce slander you with the word lettuce?
Do it. By the way, someone watching our stream says, so Dombrowski, what are your plans after the cast? And a winky face.
Yeah, I wonder who that is.
It's my wife.
It's not. What are my plans? They might involve you.
Spraying some ink. All
That's
right.
my girlfriend. To those that are watching.
No, it sounds cooler if it's some random
It
person.
doesn't sound cooler because I have a girlfriend.
All right, you ready to record this?
Okay. So,
Oops.
we'll do the intro.
Oh crap! I didn't hit OK on the studio export. One sec.
Yeah, for sure you want to do that. We don't want to get rid of that. Double check, make sure I have it. Studio update. Got it. We may have an overage this episode. If we do, we may have to move another one next week on it.
Okay.
Let's see. Hi, I'm Ryan Dombrowski of game development studio Doombrowski.
I'm Nathan, Twitch streamer and YouTuber, the Ninja Fat Man.
And together we are
Doom Ninja, a podcast about all things gaming, from streaming to development, new games and old, AAA to indie games.
and spraying until you find your way.
Nice.
Spray. Export. House down people. Intro. Ryan. Save.
All right, so everyone who watched this today, I really appreciate it. I know both of us really appreciate the support from our friends and everyone else who discovered this. We'll get this up on YouTube later on, so if you want to rewatch it, you can. Or if there's certain parts you want to look at, we'll also put links to all the games we talked about. Whatever makes the podcast, we'll have links for, and properly give love where it's needed with our ink, and go from there. So we'll do this again next week, but then skipping a week, correct?
Yeah, the week after, the first week of October, I'm not going to be in town. But we will still have a cast. It just will not be a live stream.
So if you're not already following us, hit the subscribe button, like our pages, and we will see you next time.